Okay, what actually happened with Rose was not exactly what I thought happened. I just assumed that, he forced himself upon her in her chambers or something like that. Not that they were actually in like an assembly hall and she straight up attacked Perv Ashot, which really does make it hurt more. Like, that whole scene was crushing. Like, the idea of her going before her father is just completely gone, and she knows exactly what happens. I mean, based on that big old crap-eating grin that he had on his face, I don't blame her for just lashing out. But interesting that they pretty much spend most of this episode really hitting heavy on the fact that Rose believes she did something wrong. Like, she thought that she had the answer of, like, this is what I need to do, and it was a failure. She made a huge mistake, and people could die for it. I really like this episode for the growth of Rose overall. Yes, I think we finally got a pretty solid episode for pretty much all the characters involved with this episode. I think, oddly enough, I think this is one of my favorite episodes just because the character growth of each and every single character that was present was really solid. I mean, besides Claire, who just showed up and stared at Sid. Besides Claire just yandere staring, everybody had some pretty solid growth in this episode that I really, really liked. But now, hitting each of the characters one by one. Obviously, like I said, Rose, getting the backstory, seeing that she was present with her before her father, noticed that something was wrong. Everybody is in on it. And again, like I said, it was kind of hitting the idea that she had a decision to make there, and she made a rash decision. Just attack and it would all be okay. And it was obviously not, because everybody's not. The cult of Diablos was more entrenched upon her kingdom than she thought. And she really has no choice at this point. She hates the fact that she's even attacking their own knights, really putting her in a difficult position. And I think overall, even though it's just a single episode, I think they did a really solid job of pulling off that emotion that she's going through, that conflict within her, which really sucks because, I mean, what's the alternative? If she doesn't get involved, if she gives herself up, nothing's going to change either way. I guess the argument there is that she herself isn't going to bloody her own hands, dishonor her father and whatnot. And yes, the fact that she acknowledged that she's one of the possessed, she ain't got much time either way. She has no future one way or the other, which, yes, we all know what's going to follow that up. There's somebody that does a really good job of getting rid of the possessed. I wonder what's going to happen. But yes, to conclude Rose's story, we need Sid. And Sid currently at the time apparently is running away from his sister. He says at some point, I'm going to walk around for a little bit until my sister calms down. I'm like, okay, does he like already acknowledge that she's mad for some reason? Like he hasn't come to visit her or something like that, so she's super mad. I'm surprised how little we've gotten of the sister. Like, this entire series has really just been him avoiding her. She was in the second episode, and then she's mad later on, but that's about it. Honestly, I'm wondering if next episode we'll get a reveal that possibly Claire is, was it her name, Noshino? The girl from the first episode. I think at this point, we're so far into the series, and I still believe that there's a possibility that Noshino goes with him. And, because, like I said, I've said this like way back in like episode 2 impression or something like that. It seemed like it was kind of odd they spent an entire episode focusing on this girl that never ended up meaning anything, I guess. So I'm still holding some speculation that Noshino, this girl from the first episode, is going to be an isekai to this world as well. Somehow to get her back into the story. And at this point, we're so far in, and at some point I gave up. At some point I gave up trying to think that, Alexia is her, or this girl's her, and I completely had forgotten about my theory on that idea. And I think at this point, the only character that we really haven't dived into a lot of, is Anna Rose. I think Anna Rose is a possibility, but I think at this point, we're so far in, I think it's going to be Claire. And I think that will be the honest answer as to why Claire is obsessed with Sid. She's obviously obsessed. She's not just a sister that's overly doty. She's obsessed with Sid. And she does see how he's able to move so quickly. So obviously she is special in some way as well, like typically isekais do. So I'm wondering if next episode we'll get the reveal that, yes, Noshino is Claire. That's why she's obsessed with Sid. That's why she's basically a Brokon sister. It's because she fell in love with him in the previous world, and now he's here. If she'll know that he is the guy from the previous world, that's going to be the big question mark. Will she know that he was an isekai? Will she know that Sid is this guy that saved her in the previous world? Again, based on her being overly obsessed with Sid, that might be the answer. We'll see. But no, he visits Epsilon, who is playing Moonlight Sonata to a bunch of nobles. She's trying to get in with the nobles using music from the previous world. I get a kick out of the fact that he like openly apologizes to all composers because she's literally making like popularity using somebody else's music, and she's getting to meet with other composers, and he's like, I'm sorry that all she's doing is just literally stealing. But no, he finds out from Scylla that technically Rose is underground. She doesn't know exactly where she's at, but that's what leads him there, and he decides to enact his big plan of being the Eminence in shadow, playing the music and having somebody find him and how cool it would be. And so he decides to steal a freaking piano and move it all the way underground so that he can play music to drag Rose over to him, which, yes, that's when he really kind of asks her, what are you doing? What did you hope to accomplish? Acknowledging that she's pretty much given up at this point, that she's fleeing, and if she wants the power to do what she wants to do, which, yes, she wants it, so he gets rid of the possessing and I don't think he made her part of the Shadow Garden. I really don't. I mean, he did technically do the same thing to her that he did to several other people, which is, again, get rid of this possession and drive it away. But it's not as if he made her a member of Shadow Garden. I don't know if the act of getting rid of the possession is something that infuses them with his own power. I guess they haven't really fully established what exactly Sid does to the girls to make them a part of Shadow Garden. Like I said, yes, a lot of them, he gets rid of the possession, they become a part of the group, he gives them slime, the slime is their armor and their weapon. But again, Rose, he didn't give her any slime, but he did say that he will give her the power to fight. And now she believes she has the power to fight. And yes, technically, he never said anything about joining Shadow Garden, and Beta herself doesn't say anything about, oh, well, I'm Beta, I'm part of the Shadow Garden too, I'll see you later. So maybe it's the fact that he did technically make her a part of Shadow Garden, but at the same time, she's not aware of them. And yes, she technically uses that power to pretty much beat Alexia, which is really annoying. Like this, I kind of understand this final scene, but at the same time, I don't. Because you have this aspect of Alexia's like, where are you at? Are you okay? What are we going to do now? Where are you going? And pretty much Rose is like, I don't want you to get involved. Of course, it makes sense. She doesn't want to get Alexia, who is part of this royal family, involved with her family's royal issues. If she did, they would cause a dispute. So Rose feels like she herself has to handle this situation. Makes perfect sense. This isn't like, you just get the Scooby Gang together and you go handle the problem and everybody goes, oh, well, the Scooby Gang figured it out. Rose has to handle this by herself. Otherwise, it's going to cause a huge issue. Now, granted, Natsumi/Beta could help her out, but not Alexia. And I think that was a problem they created the moment they made their little group. You're never going to be able to work together. Yes, you all acknowledge there's issues everywhere, but when it comes to acting out and solving the issue, you can't really actively stand beside each other in that battle because, again, you're going to show that why are these two princesses getting involved with this kingdom's issue? So it makes sense. It's just kind of annoying that can't be explained to Alexia. Alexia is still dead set on, this is what we decided to do, we're going to do this together, why aren't we doing this together? Granted, I would argue, Alexia, you're doing plenty of stuff that you're not telling everybody else, but Rose isn't as simple-minded. I don't want to say simple-minded. Rose isn't as naive as Alexia. Alexia here is being the naive child, and I'm curious if that'll be something that she's going to have to come to grips with going forward. But the comment made by Beta was the big question mark, because she said something to the effect of, I still think that us coming together is a good thing. Now, from Beta's perspective, it could be an aspect of, I get plenty of information from you guys. But she's still acknowledging the fact that they have their own desires, their own countries and stuff they're taking care of. And I think she's kind of in the same line of mindset as I am, is the idea that you are from all these different places. It's good that you come together, but you still kind of have to solve your own issues. But I don't know, we'll see. I did enjoy Alexia and Natsumi in this episode. They're like walking around. One of the shots of them stepping down the steps was weird because it almost looked like Alexia, when she stepped down, she stepped back up. I had to watch it like 3 times. It just completely threw me off when I seen it. But no, I like, they're going down there and she's like, well, why are we going down here? And eventually Alexia's like, oh, we're coming down here so that I can dispose of your body. You're not scared, are you? Oh no, please don't kill me. I love the Natsumi plea of help. It's always great. But one interesting thing they kind of mentioned here is Alexia said that obviously it is Iris, whatever. There's like 5 shows that it's Iris this season, and this is the only show with Iris. So people criticizing me for saying Iris, go away. But Alexia said specifically that Iris said something to the effect that she smelt something sweet. So I don't know if there's like a poison or something in this world, some mind controlling additive or something like that is specific to what's happening with the king. That's what I'm assuming. Is she said that she smelled something sweet. So I'm assuming is that with what was happening to the king involves something sweet. But sadly, I think the thing that but that's just a kind of a side note. The important thing here that I was kind of curious about is that they're specifically saying that it's too late, which implies that the king is gone. I don't know. Maybe there's hope that Rose can still save her father. It's heartbreaking. The moment that she looked up to see her father, it was like, I immediately thought about my father. I'm like, I would hate to see something like that. That would break my heart. Other than that, really loved the whole thing where he had complimented Epsilon as he was leaving. And I'm like, why would he compliment her? And oh yeah, by the way, it's because he liked that she said something that she liked Moonlight Sonata. So he decided to return the favor by saying that her figure is perfect. Even though he openly admits that he knows that she's enhancing both her chest and her legs. But no, like I said, solid episode. Love the build up around Rose, what she's going through, how they presented all that stuff. Again, like I said, I think this is easily one of my favorite episodes, just purely around a character, really kind of getting into a character, their mindset, and what they're going through. It was a solid little story arc, and I'm hoping going into episode 18 it has a really nice resolve to it. I would say good on Sid this episode for saving Rose, but at the same time, I think he was just doing it on a whim because his friend said, hey, we should go look for Rose and get the bounty on her, and he's like, oh, well, I want to do this whole thing with this piano, so I might as well do that with Rose down there. That will look cool. And so he does it, and that's the only reason he's down there. He's not there to help Rose. Like usual, Sid's not doing anything to help people. He's just doing cool things. So whatever. At least it lined up with Rose. But anyways, that's my thoughts on episode 17 of Eminence and Shadow. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure that like button down below. Comment. Let me know what you thought of the episode. Additionally, if you're new to the channel, make sure that subscribe button so you get all my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top list. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support the channel more, we have a Patreon link, tips link, super thanks button down below. We also have a membership button. I greatly appreciate everybody that does, and y'all take care.